Yes, thank you very much. So, Barnabas, I've been calling you since. You are here or you are not here?
Yeah, I'm here, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother. So let's go on now. Uh, your question. I could actually not address any of the questions during the weekend when they were coming, of course, because of the engagements I was having. So I just thought it maybe when I come in here, then we have that trust, right? So, um, Oluwaseun Paul has some things he was kind of battling with. I don't know whether he has worked on that already. But then I'm seeing some persons already have some headways to the issues and all that. Anything that has to do about financial aid, that's serious. I have no idea, much idea about it. So I'm reading through Oluwaseun Paul's message. Well, you can do much research on that to give you, or perhaps you can reach out to Mr. Oyekunle, right? Or wait again. Okay, so yeah, I think they have even given you some heads up on that. Okay, Gabriel is having some issues with required courses. That's serious. Oh. Okay, uh, resources and need. Yeah, Barnabas, you said you are completely lost from creating of GitHub, and the follows literally means all what we have been doing with regards to GitHub.
Not really, sir. The creating of the account, I've created it, but how to navigate through, I was finding it difficult. And the videos that were uploaded, I don't know whether they are still there, and I couldn't trace any to watch through.
That's serious.
That's
But
my
I dropped
challenge, sir.
another video. Okay, boy, you are in the class.
I was in the class,
And
but much distracted, sir. Network was bringing me
but you
out
didn't,
anyhow.
but you didn't, but you didn't highlight that. I think the last time we had chat it up class has been a while. So like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and you never spoke anything into that until assignments began to pop in. So now imagine if you have not said anything and you didn't practice it. Of course, we will assume that you have already gotten it right, and um, only that you're having facing some challenges with the assignment. But then it seems as though you're in the class like well, like you just said, or you would have pointed that out even within that week. And then perhaps you have other colleagues too that might have grabbed one or two things that you can just ask for a session to be 10, 15 minutes. They'll run you through, right? I think taking that approach would be a nice thing for us. If there are times that you run into issues, just quickly drop that in your group, or perhaps hit one or two persons to give you on what to do. I think it'll be better so that you can be able to catch up. Now imagine, I'm not sure I can tell you that, bro, that there's no possibility of me trying to start talking about GitHub and then trying to create an account. No, it won't work now. It's just like we're going backward, like 2 3 weeks backward. So what I would suggest you do is that of course Kelechi is here, Oluwadari, these are some of the persons, even Oluwaseun Paul too, or Deborah, Feyi and the rest. You can just reach out to one of them and then just create a link, a Google link, and then just meet up and then you just do one or two things. I believe that should help, right? Well, my suggestion.
Uh, all
Yeah,
right, sir.
so
Thank you.
okay, thank you very much. And Oluwaseun Paul, okay, we're talking about the detail. Okay, Feyi. Feyi start recording. Oh.
I'm already recording, sir. And I have a
I'm not seeing the
question.
record. Are you recording? Okay, I'm seeing that.
Yes, sir.
Go on, please.
Okay,
Go on.
so concerning Coursera, I already have a Udemy.
Ah, you
No,
are bringing it to Coursera.
no. Like I understand all those ones. Like it's not under your control, so that one is fine.
Okay.
But I want to say that I already have a Udemy course that is complete Node.js course as well that I have already paid for like a long time ago. So I don't know if it's okay for me to do that one and present the certificate instead of paying for the Coursera again because I got 90%. But I'm like, both courses are literally teaching the exact same thing.
Well, I'm just a facilitator, right? And the other aspects that constitutes the overall requirement for the entirety of your cohort when done is actually not stated by me, right? So some of these things have their stakeholders, I'm going to put it that way, or the brethren who are in charge of the poorer, right? They have already have those things set up. So I think I will not be in the best position to answer that. Maybe you refer that particular set of your questions. Now, I know that revolving Coursera now, right? I'm trying to zoom out now from the whole Coursera activity to whether Mr. Wakely, right? Or Mrs. Unyeka. They'll be in the good position now to actually attend to that. But I believe while they had opted into Coursera was because Coursera was given a free platform until we became caught up with this 90% and 100% thing that came up. Hence, of course, Udemy you will have to pay as low as 3,000 naira, 3,000 something, all that. Of course, depending on the time frame where they're having to release out free courses or courses that have less pay and all that, right? So why they are chosen or why they chose Coursera was because of the ability to uh, enroll and have free courses. In fact, for the previous cohorts that we have had prior to now, it has been without challenges and hitches. But then the new rules and the new things that have been fixed by the Coursera team that led to this whole thing. So maybe if you reach out to them, it might be that the Udemy might surface, right? The Udemy might surface. And of course, Udemy certificates are also recognized everywhere, anywhere in the world, same as Coursera and all that. So I believe you just reach out to them and then get the feedback. Yes, Kelechi, go.
Thank you, sir.
Please get back to us when you have when you succeed. There are many of us that are having that same challenge as well.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Okay,
afternoon, my
so,
brother.
sir, I should believe this section or probably this cohort will be ending by June. Yeah, 6 months. It
Okay.
should be June. So, with the way it's going now, sir, do you, I would say, do you believe or do we, is there a possibility that we can grasp everything from now to then? Like with the teachings and
Okay.
the way it's going, is there a possibility that we can grasp everything from now till the ending of June?
See the way I'm looking at you.
Yes, I
Yeah,
just know
so
because we are following,
okay.
we are following. But sir,
Okay.
your teaching is helping us to also, it's helping us to follow up with other, videos we are watching online. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like last week, we were expecting to hear from you on, was it on Friday? But
Yeah.
we understand you're fully busy. So with the
Very
way
busy.
some things are coming in, going out, is there a possibility that we can, wrap up it, the graphs from our own end as students from now till June?
Okay. Well, let me speak into the last part of your input, right? Yes, the Friday class was an additional class that we were to add because I felt there was an overload on Wednesday. It's not
Yes,
part
sir.
of the class. It was not part of the class. So even
Yes,
if I
sir.
had missed it, well, I was not that much more committed into that Friday that we had to fix. In fact, it was meant to be on Thursday. You guys say Friday. So now we put them on Friday. Now I won't get that palata. right? So
Mm.
what I was just trying to say is that I'm much more committed to. I have someone that will follow me up. Once is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, my colleagues who are in charge of Quora will actually follow me and come into the space where I am, my workspace, and say, "Oh, Aaron, you have a class now." But on Friday, there's nobody that is going to like, okay, and then I have other things pile up to actually fix. So
Mm.
you see, that's the reason why I have that thing. So from Monday,
Okay, sir.
Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I'm sure to be very available for us to charge out a lot of things that needs to be charged and work on things that needs to be. Yeah, so now, with regards to the ability to grasp what we are doing. Now, the reason, okay, I believe is something that we can actually do. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to categorize this answer into two formats. First, the spiritual aspect that sincerely we can do all things to Christ that strengthen us, right? Accept that scripture first. And then, secondly, it all depends on how um, the uniqueness of everyone here, or perhaps how you are able to grab what we are actually teaching. And that's the reason why that everything that I'm attempting to do here, I'm not using the tutorial based format that you can find on YouTube. Whatever I'm dispensing here, if I open up a code, the code base that we have pushed, that is live, that people are interacting with, is the same format. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
because
Yes, sir.
I would want you to just learn and then have an overview, and you can do something, but that something is not something that you can push to production. When I mean push to production, okay, let me quickly say is that in in a development environment, we have about four stages, right? And you can be writing because you just want to write code. You can be writing why just because you want to test things and all that. You can write because you just want to analyze things and all that. But there's an implementation and writing of a code that has to do with something that when you push, it will be steady. When I mean steady, it will not break, and then it's something that can be optimized and scalable per time. So the module to which I'm using to teach is as though um, once you're able to grab it, you can leave this cohort as someone that can replicate something. Of course, you have to also have to put it at the back of your mind that technology has its own trends. That's why you can't memorize things. There's some things that you wouldn't want you to come and put them in your head. No, not at all. Because when you put them in your head and you think that's the only thing you have grabbed, in the next 2 weeks, I can tell you some things that what we are using in the next 1 week it has changed. So you have to know what has changed and how you are able to use it, right? Yes, because of course things just keep changing. But one of the some of the things that do not change that much is, let's say, architectural designs, right? Structures, modules, and all that. And these are the part of the things that I'm taking my time to teach. If you remember the last class, I was struggling between which one to use in the place of structuring our app. I wanted to make use of the normal way so that I'll just do something you understand. Oh, it's working. But then it will not serve us well when we begin our project. Our project is, of course, I've been saying this our project ever since. Our project is expected to start, of course, that for other departments or other specializations that have already started. So when we begin, it will not be as though I'm bringing in something new from what I've taught you. But whilst you are seeing it, you are able to grab and say, okay, yeah, we did that when we are trying to do crash dev or some things and all that. So I believe before the end of the 6 months, um, you should be able to do something meaningful, something tangible, that if you go off this place with the architecture you have been able to learn, of course, you're going to learn from other people and all that when you join other projects like that. But then you would have grabbed something that is production ready. One of the fears of product managers engineering leads, and even CEOs of the company is the ability to write something that is not just functional. You see, that was the problem. I think I remember I was sharing um, my story when I started, that I have learned I could do something. I could write a code, back end code, even front end that was functional. But there was no confidence that this guy, when you push it to production, it will scale. What I mean to scale is that whenever we want to change something, you should be able to change it flawlessly. Is it flawlessly now, without any hindrances and all that. And then it should be able to be optimized so that if at all there are changes, it will also be without errors, without issues and all that. But then I wasn't having that confidence. I knew I was doing something that was functional. But if you push it, it could be that when they are trying to interact with it, they say, oh, this thing is not working, oh, this is not working, oh, that is not working, oh. And what are the things to actually look out for, right? I had that issue until I began to work alongside some senior developers that opened me up. So what are part of the things I'm trying to do here is, while I'm whetting my appetite to learning production ready development and all that, it also we kind of whet your appetite, right? To having a full grasp. So anytime, anywhere you see something, you already know that this what this guy is doing is not actually production ready, at least to some extent. And anytime a senior engineer tends to see your code base, will know that what this guy is doing is not just like a child's play. You already know what you're doing part time. I don't know if I get what I'm saying, Kelechi.
Yes, I'm with you, sir. Sorry, sir. I'm with
Okay.
you.
Do you have any input to say with regards to what I've said? Oh,
No, no, I actually love the fact that you said what we can grasp from now to the 6 months is something that can equip us to the world.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
someone
sir,
has
that means
dropped a
we
scripture.
can. So, sir, that means after the 6 months, we can still be in touch with you, right?
Of course, of course. Oh, of course. With the group we have until, oh, I'm so open. I'm so open. I'm so open.
Mm.
For the fact that even within the 6 months and perhaps beyond, we'll all be on the project. Because now, the project that we are working on, let me talk about the project. That's for some persons who are not here. The project that we are having to work on is a project that you don't see it anywhere. It's not anywhere now. And it's a prop tech project. What is a prop tech? A prop tech means a property tech solution, or a prop commerce. You can call it just like you have an e-commerce site and all that. But then this time around is going to be for properties. And this project came in as a result of the research from the product team of this same cohort that all of you are. Of course, we have the product team, we have the front end team, we have the back end team PHP, we have the back end team Node.js. We have, in fact, as it is now, I'm going to lead the whole engineering team, both the front end, the back end, and all that. So now with that, there's another whole lot of work. We are going to be coordinating a lot of things as the engineering team lead for the project, right? So now we are not just solving it as just a normal project. We are solving it, and then we're going to push the project out there into the marketplace where people are going to interact with it. I don't know what comes in for you, but then part of the thing that comes in for you is that you are able to learn. You are able to learn, and then you could say that it could be part of your portfolio that you actually worked in. It could be part of your portfolio that you actually worked in a project, working on a project, sorry, that is production ready and it's somewhere there, and you really follow through from the beginning to the end. Look at how amazing it is. Oh my, check it out, bro. Yeah. So, and then what is the property tech going to be like? From the survey that was shared with us from the product team, there have been a lot of hassles trying to find an apartment in Lagos, because the study case or the research case was they had to make use of Lagos. Please, I will refer you back to the recording, please. You can ask Sunyeka, she will give you the recording and then go through that session where the problem was highlighted and then the solution was highlighted, and then where we now come in as engineers to solve the problem. Of course, it's a problem, and imagine what you guys are going to be earning. I believe, of course, it's your project. It's not even us. So imagine if that guy is generating income. So as many persons that were here from, I believe so, from now to the beginning of the project. I don't know. I believe maybe there's something else. But then it's your project, or perhaps dedicated to God, right? Yeah, but then that's your, yeah. So that's your project. It's going to be interesting where you will see like working on something live and people will interact with it. So it's something of joy. I believe something that we can do, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
And
yeah,
so what's the duration of this project?
the project. Now part of the things that I see we will be doing alongside is the fact that um, I think we should start wrapping up with all this phase, and that's what I'm trying to do. Do the routing, do the middleware, do the database, and then we begin. Now, the design team has already begun designing. Of course, I was even told that we have wonderful UI. But what's the UI? UI means user interface. And the product people are being able to prototype, and then the design team, which is the UI US guys, have already begun their design, and they have done a whole lot. They've done a whole lot of the design. So basically, the design is just like what we are going to be building, both from the front end perspective and also yeah, both from the front end perspective and also the back end perspective. So it is with the UI that we can know what data we're expecting from the front end guys or from the client side, and then what we're going to be doing with the data. For instance, the UI might present us with where um, um, for every user that we interact with that particular prop tech app, we'll have to sign in. So it means we at the back end now will stay back to receive the email and password, and then save the password and the email address. And then anytime this guy is coming in, if for instance he was on the platform and then he saw listings of properties and then he clicked on like a property, it means you are able to like those properties that he has liked. Whenever he logs in, he will see them for each person that likes each particular property and all that. And if he's going to pay, the module of the payment, and then we'll do the payment system. I think we're going to be using something called Xcrew from what was presented. An escrow system. I know some of you guys have you okay. Has anyone heard of escrow here? Escrow system. Oluwaseun, have you heard of escrow?
I've not, I've not heard of
Prima,
it.
have you heard of escrow? Your passport looks like Masterbank. You know Masterbank in Catholic. Prima, with that sultan or kaftan. Okay. So no one has heard of an escrow system of payment. Is purity here? They, they use you know escrow now.
Yes, now escrow is the system that is used in fintech app.
So what does it do?
My understanding with Binance is if you are transacting on Binance P2P, it's the guarantee that the transaction goes smooth. While as in it will hold how do I put it, the liquidity of the customer, while it guarantees the product is delivered and the payment is done successfully.
Thank you very much. That's what escrow does. Escrow system is like a middleman between two clients. Now on our system now, let's say the person who wants to rent a property, and the person who owns the property to be rented. So what does escrow do? Escrow says that once a client comes in and see the property he wants to get, and then he gets the property, right? And once he gets the property and he wants to pay, once he does the payment is not given to the owner of the property yet. the money is held by the escrow system. So once the two parties agreed that the property I saw, oh, I like it, and you can go ahead to lease out the money. It's at that point that the owner of the property now gets the money. If this guy has paid and he got there and he saw that, oh, the the bathroom as what was pasted is not what, or as I say pasted, what was displayed is not as the same with what I saw, or perhaps the GP tank, I saw a big GP tank, but when I came in to inspect, I'm seeing a small GP tank now. The tiling, he told me that I has tiled, but they have not tiled the back side. They only tiled the front side. Now, you see, these are the discrepancies that they can have between the property owner and the person who's trying to lease the property. So he can have that reported, and once that is done, what automatically happens is that um, the payment is reversed back to the owner, that is back to the person who wanted to get the property, right? And then everybody is settled. But then if the both of them agrees, then the payment is being sent out from escrow to. So that's exactly what this approach is saying. So and then that's the same feature, because one of the problems that we're having within the Lagos property is that if you are paid and you went to check, right, you have a problem of getting your money back. Except if you're not a Lagosian. Maybe if you're a Lagosian, you might have to put up some 1 or 2 stones then to get back your, and that's going to be a long way for you, especially now if you are trying to pack out or pack in an emergency situation. It becomes a problem. So that's part of the things we are trying to solve out and see that. Okay, so that's just that about the project. So any other question before we move into what we have today?
So, still on that project, the
Okay.
other day when they were introducing the project to us, they were talking that it's not going to, we are not going to have a web version of it, except the
Okay.
landing page, or that everything
Okay.
is going to be on mobile, is going to be mobile app. So,
Okay.
and that night, my question is that our own role as back-end developer, is it, do we have a role to play, even as it is a app, mobile app that is not web app? Do we still have a role to play in this? So that's my question.
Oh yes. Yes, we have a big group. We have a big group to play. Now, if we are having to do both mobile and web, they are going to be feeding from the backend. Do you get that now? So if we are going to still do web, they're going to still feed from the backend. The mobile is still going to feed from the backend. So one server feeding different platforms, both mobile and web. So I don't know why the decision for not the web. Maybe because a lot of persons will prefer checking through mobile phone. Just like if I have Jumia on my phone, it's easier for me, right? In as much as of course we can also see transform that to but then it's easier for people to quickly check using mobile app and have it installed, and then of course with that we can gain the influence now, and also we can gain traction. You can also gain traction and order. You can be able to sell our app much more easier. And then again, of course, mobile app is flexible, and it's quick to build. Building mobile app versus building web version. Mobile app is much more easier to build than building web apps, because when you are building web app, you have to build um, the size of all the different screens of a laptop, of a computer, the monitor. Then you now build the tab versions. Then you now build the mobile versions, right? That is the resolutions and all that. But then with mobile apps, of course, it's just two things: either a tab, right, or it's literally easier. And then some things that, of course, there are some things that you will necessarily not see on, for instance, a Gmail mobile app, or you see it on the web app version of the Gmail mobile app, of the Gmail app, right? And because the web version can give you an overview of a lot of things. But to keep it simple, that's why I believe we are trying to navigate into mobile app. So, of course, we are the engine room. The backend team is the engine room, and we're the one feeding um, feeding the mobile app. If tomorrow we are going to start the front end app, of course, I say front end, the web version, we still be the one to actually still feed them. So we have a big role. In fact, the mobile app cannot work without us. Are we still together?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. So any other question? If there is no other question. Tolua Lash. Pronounce that name for me. Or yeah, you can go on. But pronounce your name first.
Okay. Good. Good afternoon. Can you hear
So
me? Am I
Tolu,
audible?
yeah, you're audible. Tolua
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tolu Alashe. That's the name.
Tolua Lash. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit
Is it that today
behind.
is going to be question and answer? That's
No,
serious.
no, no. I was actually waiting for the class to start. So,
Okay.
I've not really had time to attend classes for the past 2 weeks. I just want to know, um, if there is anything I need to do to just quickly catch up. Yeah, I'm quite conversant with JavaScript normally, well, because I write
Okay.
React, and yeah. So I just really want to know to what extent I need to work, because I was totally lost on the Telegram channel. So I just said I should just hear my what's called concerns and see. Though I know I was just left with one video on your platform on YouTube, so I don't know if that is all I have.
Okay.
That was the last video that you uploaded. That's all I've not watched.
Well, you can. Okay, you can check. You can do also be checking the resources and links, right? I believe that's and your Canva too. Is it the Canvas? Is it Canvas or Canva? And also be checking
Okay.
the perhaps Sheyi might want to push some of those things there. And of course, it might be that oh, look at Kelechi, the big man. The big man doing big things. Yeah, so you can check on the subgroup on the Telegram channel to check list of the resources. The ones since you already have some headway or heads up, the ones you find it of course you can make use of. So Gabriel Rufai, go on. So well actually I hope I've been able to answer that, right?
Yeah, let's try.
Thank you. Yeah, so
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Gabriel, good afternoon. Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Okay, I was having network challenge when you were answering that question concerning the course on Udemy. So I didn't get what you said there. Hello.
Yeah, go on. I can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know.
Okay, you're asking.
I have a course on Udemy also. So I don't know if
Okay,
that one can serve because I didn't get
okay.
the answer you gave. Yeah, that
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. What I was trying to tell her is that I'm in no position to actually respond to that, and that there are brethren in charge of all those aspects, right? So mine is basically just to facilitate the backend team. So maybe
okay.
they are already working on trying to see that as a credit for this whole quad. I don't know. But then you guys can actually direct your questions and then tag the people that are involved, like Mr. Oyekunle. I believe you're familiar with him already. Mr. Oyekunle is one person, and then Mrs. Onyeka. You can reach out to them, and then they'll give you much more information. Of course, you can relate those issues with them as they give you more heads up on what to do. Right?
Yes, sir. Okay, and I also want to know concerning that app that they're talking about. So, are we going to collaborate with those doing PHP backend also
I'm not sure.
on the
I'm not
backend?
sure. I'm not sure whether the PHP. I don't know. I actually don't know. But then, I believe the stack that we might adopt is going to be Node.js Backend. Except maybe they're going to shred the app into different features. Different features depending on how the product team are going to have that spread, right? So if they spread it, it might be that we are having to. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
So if they have it shredded into microservices, it could be that we might work differently, but then still feeding one application. Of course, it's a possibility. You can have three, four different backends to feed one particular, or perhaps feed different sections of the app. Yes, it's a possibility. So maybe for the purpose of learning and all that, I believe it's going to be. I so much believe the start is going to be Node.js, but depending on what is going to be. But then if not, let them give us our own this thing. We will build our own too. Even if they say it's PHP, no problem. But then we still use the UI to also learn and know that at the end, everybody will just go. You can go with your code base, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
believe at the end, you can go with your code base and have it deployed on GitHub. And they also say that, oh, these were part of the things you learned, and these were the things you did practically, and it's working, and you have deployed it. Of course, there's an interview I did. I went. I told them these were the things I worked on. But one of the guys said, can I send him the link of the deployed Kini Kini? I was like, okay, that's serious. So you see now, some of them are interested in. You can also put it. It's not that you just wrote something that is on GitHub, but also that you have deployed it, and they can actually interact with it. But then it will be a risky thing because you would have been selling the solution that we already have. But then, well, if you give them the endpoint, they might not. It's not bad, of course, because they can actually pick it on from a web version of any application because it's open there. But then the ability for you to now give them the code base, that's where the problem becomes. It becomes a problem. Yes, which we find out that you're the one that disbursed this thing. Hey, we will come for you. We will come for you with prayer and fasting. Yeah, so I think that's that bar. Any other thing? So that we just move it straight to. Oh, we have spent a lot of time and just have something to say. So, do we have any question with regards to the last class? With regards to the last class. Freeman, me, I want you to ask question. Freeman say no get question. So, okay. Yeah, so okay. With absence of no question, maybe we'll just dive into another segment that I'll be bringing in shortly. So let me share. Brethren, there's this song that is ringing in my ear. How many persons usually listen to Theophilus Sunday here? Signify the raise of hand. Theophilus Sunday. Oh, okay. Or you don't used to listen to Theophilus Sunday.
I do.
Freeman, we are looking at me. It's
I
as if you
don't
are hearing it.
I don't listen to him, but I know some of the songs.
Okay. Ah, okay. You don't listen to him, but you know some of the songs. You don't used to follow him and all that. Freeman,
Yeah, like I
it's
don't
as if
follow
he's
him.
okay, okay. Freeman, you go. If like say you know Mountain of Fire song, oh, no worry, I understand. Okay, oh. There's this song. I think not quite long. Another major. That's what has been ringing in my heart since this apostate of what's the hub again? Is it Glory Hub now? What's the name of that ministry again? They used to say another 1,000. Ah, another 10,000. That's what God will have to measure to us in this back end class. Oh. Another 10,000. You can imagine. Okay, Michael, you used to listen to the song too?
Another mayor, another 1,000.
Ah, Kai, my people are here. My people are here. My people are here. Is my screen visible already? Can you help me check? Is my screen visible already? Can you please help me confirm that?
It's not showing yet.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me try it again. So what about now?
Yeah, it's showing now. It's showing now.
Okay, okay, thank you. So now, in the last class, quick one, a recap, we were able to talk about the index file, which is the entry point to our file, and we began in the two classes where we did some requests, and we did that in the entry point, and then we kind of had to move one step further by creating a folder and a file where instead of having everything to be clustered in our index.file, we had to go into learning what route is, routing our files, and then and all that. And also we learned that what routing does is that once the app listens to the particular port, um, it routes to the very function that is saddled with the responsibility of getting the resource. So in order to do that, we had to bring in um, another folder, a new folder called startup. Well, I didn't write it up very well here. Yeah, the spelling here is not correct. It's meant to be startup. Well, in programming, anything you give it to it, as long as it's not its own syntax and its own keywords, it will work with it, as long as also you were able to use it very well. We also talked about we did touch how to import and export a file using the common JS, which is the vanilla JavaScript module of doing that. So where we made use of the require. We said you want to import a file or import a package, an npm package, you make use of the require. I also touched on when you import, right, using the require, you might want to assign it to a variable if you're going to use it in that particular file again, right? For instance, we imported express using the require, we assigned it a variable and we called it express. And if you notice, we're now using it here as a function, and then where we were able to get the app from the function. And also we said that you can also destructure, we also learned destructuring. That was in the last two classes and all that. We also learned about the env, the .env, and then we talked about what it does and why we used it. And we said we are using it to save secret keys in the environment, which we are not meant to expose in the code, because once the code is cloned into their system, or whoever wants to clone the system, if you have to put if you have to put and they can do away with some things, some vital information that is not meant to be, and all that. Yeah, so that was part of the things we learned, right? Yeah, so um, we also talked about middlewares, where we talked about the application middlewares, and then I don't know whether we did touch about the. Okay, we did not touch much more about on the resource middleware, right? So maybe we'll touch that today, and then we'll go forward from there. So are we still together? So I created this looker file just because I wanted to interact with it, but today I'm going to remove it since it's not going to be part of what we are going to be dealing with today. So I just removed the looker from, but then it's giving an error. Look at the error. I also remember when we began this class, I spoke about, I talked about the terminal and the console on your terminal, which should be your friend that enables you to check errors, debug errors, and all that. Now, because we removed the file, we got an error that we cannot find a module, and then it gave us the directory of the module. And if you look further, and go further, it will also give us a hint of where the error is coming from. It told us that the error is coming from crash dev index.js. So means what that means is that if I go into this file, please confirm you can see my screen again.
Yes, sir, consider.
Yes,
So what that means is go into this index.js file, you should be able to see this file. And also if you read further into the console.log, it also gives us the line that if you go to index.js line 4, ratio 14. Do not mind the ratio 14. Even me up to now, I don't know what the ratio 14 is. But on line 4, you should be able to trace where the error is coming from. So if I go into index.js, I just scroll down to where line 4 is. Look at line 4. So what should I do? It means I'm trying to import a file that does not exist. That's what is happening because I just deleted it. And that's why it was saying module not found. So if I either comment it out, I should have my code running back. But unfortunately, also again, I'm seeing that I'm trying to console log a variable that was declared, but I've been commented out. It means this guy also is a problem here. So is that I also comment it out. And once I do that, my app should be running. So I'm having my server is listening on port 8,000. Are we still together? Please confirm we're still together.
yes, sir.
So I'm going to be removing some of the things that we are trying to make as a sample that we actually do not need them at the moment, right? Like this particular line of codes and all that. So we are going to be a little bit concentrate our teaching today on the routes a little bit, and then we'll talk about other things. So maybe the next thing I want to let's start. Let's run one of the requests that we have. So, but then before we run the request, a run through too that once one of the things that we did was that we created a folder called startup where one of the things that we had to put in was the routes. Now the routes here file, the routes file in the startup, what is going to do is that it's going to help us aggregate and index all the various apps that is going to be interacting with different routes. So it means all the routes that we're going to be having is going to be put into the routes file in the startup, right? So you notice this is just the user route. And in the process of trying to implement this application, remember we were trying to use an e-commerce as a study case or as a development case, where we say an e-commerce will have the user route and also we have the product route and all that. So in order to implement the different routes, I'm going to add up another extra route in the startup folder, and then it will give us an overview of what we're trying to do. So what I need to just do here is to come down here right now, and then of course I will copy and paste, and maybe I will call this one product. Is it the product route that we're going to deal with now? I said, yeah, product. So it's going to be product, and then I'm going to call this product route. But then I need to import the product route using the require. But then I'm going to import something that we do not have yet. But I will go ahead to import it because I'm going to create it, isn't it? So remember when we did that module of trying to learn how to check the directories you are importing from. So it means if you check for this user route, for instance, let me comment this out yet. It means this user route that we called here as a variable actually came in from a folder called routes, which is here, and then from a file called users, right? So now the next one which we want to create now is the product route, which is going to come from the folder called routes, which is here, and the file called product, which we have not yet created. But I will go ahead to create it or import it, but then and then later um, we'll now go forward to create the file. So at the moment, I've been able to import this file and also attach it into the function that is exporting this particular routes into the index file where we had it required here. It means imported here. and then we pass in the app as a parameter, or sorry, as an argument to the parameter that we have here. If you notice, this is, of course, this is a function, an arrow function, right? Are we still together, please?
Yes,
Are we
sir.
still together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, having done that, I will now go to create this file because we just imported using the require that we have routes, that we have a file called products, and then it's coming from the routes, and then this is the file name, but I have not created. So I will go in here and I will click on new file, right?
Excuse me,
Yes, I'll create
there's
a
a
new file.
spelling mistake, sir.
Sorry,
Route product, line 2.
line 2.
Yeah, the product, that is the endpoint, the last product. Yeah, the spelling.
Okay, thank you very much. Exactly. If we did not correct it, we would have been seeing, would have run into an error the moment we were done creating it with the. Thank you very much for that. So we create a file and then we call it product. I hope I spell this time around. Hence, um, this guy will not be able to see the file. So at this moment, we have been able to create the file called product and all that. But then the product is not having anything to export. If you click on it, it's going to be empty. In fact, it's not even showing us because of the ability not to be able to trace any of those, right? So what we'll do is we'll go in and then kind of replicate what we have on the user's route. And of course, what did we do here? We just from the Express framework, or yeah, framework. There's a framework. From the Express frame, some person used to call it framework, some people used to call it library, but then it's a framework for Node.js. So from the Express framework, what we did was that we were able to get the router, which you can find as a function, or sorry, as a method. Sorry, I mean to say as a method, and then we're able to use that to um, run the different requests that we have, like the post request, the get request, and all that. So that's that. So I'll just copy this guy here from what we did in the previous class, and then have it paste here. And then what am I going to change? Literally nothing. Yes. So with that, I didn't change anything. Only that is the parameters, which is the endpoint now, the URL to a particular resource that is going to matter. Maybe at this point might be post a product. So I'll just drop, let's see, um, what should I call it now? Okay, let me leave it at this point. Let me just leave it. Let me leave it. Now, if you notice, our server has is now running without any errors, and it has not crashed. Now, if you notice again, you will notice that while we are doing the changes, we are not coming here to do npm run start, because that's what nodemon is helping us to do. Now, from where we just I just stopped now, is there any question? Is there any matters arising before I go further? Okay, so now like I said, the route is where we're going to be bringing every route that has resources to interact with. Now, this will now the routes being brought in here as of course an instance of each of the files will now give us head to each of spoke about the fact that I'm going to be using endpoints, APIs, and functions interchangeably, right? Yes, so that of course these are the languages that is being used outside there, and these are the languages that are being used outside there. So please just take note of that. So in the users app, we might want to do things like different. We might want to run different request methods. Uh, get right to the get users register will say okay, maybe this one will be If this one logs in to register, should be. I'm just trying to change the response that we will show forth, just to reiterate what we are doing. So when you register, maybe the part of the response that we send to the user once it's registered is account created. It could be anything, but majority of the messages that we use are the ones that comes in from the product people, because they're the ones that are user centric. They interact with the users and know what the users might feel. We at this end, we do not actually care about the responses. The responses that we actually care about are the data coming in for consumption by the front end. But the grammars, the English, right, that comes in or that are associated with some of these responses are not our, they are not our thing. So I can come and write account created, and the product guy can come in and say no, it should be account created successfully, right? So when you click on get, maybe now will be register, this one will be now login. So when you log in, maybe it will be welcome. Let me use Faye today. Welcome Faye. If you log in successfully, and then maybe as a user you want to, then we have another point just to get user details. Maybe this one will just be just the users, nothing much more, or we just leave it as an empty field. Of course it will still work. So maybe this one will be users dashboard, users dashboard like this. And then yeah, that's just it. So for the products too, maybe you come in here, we have products, it will be, let's see, create a product. Of course you can't use them. I might leave it like this, and then maybe, don't worry, because we do not have a nomenclature, that's why I'm still kind of leaving it like this. It will also it will look into okay, don't worry, when we begin to run the request to get the APIs or the resources, we'll see what is there. So maybe here will be to create a product, maybe the product created successfully like this, and then maybe here will be to list all the products. And when you're listing, basically it's going to be like uh let me see, let me call it products, but I've made it an array of objects, but then I'll just leave it simple as products, and then maybe the products will be um let's say the product that this guy was trying to list on an e-commerce, let's say a shirt, right? So let's say the image of the shirt or whatever item. Okay, let me just give it https/image, and then let me go here, name of product, name of product, maybe it will be an iPod. Is it iPod or AirPod now? Yeah, or let's say iPad. I think this name is familiar. So then that's the name of the product, then the model and all that. Let's say this guy is the model. Let's say iPad 23ML. There's nothing like that too. And then maybe the address of the seller. Now maybe the next one is the address of the seller, because of course that's part of the things you want to get. Number one. Now these things I'm doing are just dummy data, right? They're just dummy data at the moment. So number one, Chica Street, Chica Street. So let's just leave it, keep it simple as this. Yeah. So basically, these are the things I just wanted to point out, so that now if I want to run my Thunder client, okay, I think we are okay. We are no longer on Telegram. So let me see if I can use my Postman. Okay, don't worry. Let's still keep it on Thunder client. Maybe when we begin interacting with Postman too, it's literally the same thing. but then the environment are different. But there are a lot of fields. There's a lot of things I would have also tried to teach when we are on Postman, especially with documentations and all that. Yeah, so um, I'm coming. Sorry, let me respond to it. Sincere apologies. I see some persons left, right? After doing the call. That's fine. Okay. Wadare, yeah, thank you very much. I'll put that into consideration. Thank you very much. Yes, so where did I stop again, please? Can someone help me? Someone that is following. Thank you. Am I still I'm not audible. Am I the only person
We're
here?
hearing you, sir. You were talking about the fact that we are not on Telegram again, that you wanted to use Postman, but you were like,
Okay.
maybe we should just continue with Thunder Client, but you wanted to show some documentation, on Postman. But you were talking about Postman and Thunder Client. That's like where you stopped.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, that's fine. So thank you very much, Sanfi. So I was going to create another. I'll create just to run the requests that we have and then see the response that we have, right? So register, call this on register user, and then click enter, and then it's a post request. We have to change it because it's a post request. Okay, so I will just instead of I'll just pick the endpoint here and just copy and paste. Instead of trying to type long one, and then I'll paste, and then I'll check in. Let's check in again from the routes.
Now
The
that's not
base.
the
This is
folder.
you said.
That's the folder we use when
Sorry, did anyone hear what he's trying to say? Or I'm the only one having the issues hearing me.
His line is also
Gabriel, if I
breaking.
did you hear what?
His line is breaking for me as well.
No, sir, I did not hear
Okay.
what he said. I didn't hear.
Okay, so Firima, can you type in so that they will help you read out? Yeah, so oh my, this one is personal. Yeah, so um to get the resource of register, you have to do users and then we go into the users router app. After the users router, the next, which is this post, in order to get this post, is slash register. So to register now is going to be user slash what register. I don't know if you got that, what I was just trying to do. And then of course you have to pass in the body. And then in this case we're using JSON and okay, so since we're not passing anything, we just want to see the response. Okay, so I was told that register 404 not found. It means we're trying to access API version 1 users register and it's not found. So let's go and check again what could be the issue, what could be the problem. So the journey starts from app.use users
Sir, you're under OPEX,
and
sir,
then
not CORS, sir.
I'm under Apex
Your
now.
yeah, the
Oh,
collection.
The collection. Okay. So it should be like here. Let me move it here. Did it move? Okay. Okay. Oh, we already have something going. Uh, okay, that was why the API version 1. ah, I wanted to go and check it. Now, let me quickly take advantage of this now and tell you something, right? Are we still together? Now, when you are writing your endpoint, or when you're writing, creating your server, you need to know which of the version. I remember when we started doing, when we did npm init, if you go into your package.json, you will see that it also stated the version. And here it was version 1.0.0. It means this is the first version of crash dev that we're trying to do. Of course, I call the name of this file or this project called crash dev, in as much as we are running an e-commerce app. Now, if we have deployed the first version and we're trying to create the next version afresh, or still trying to deploy the second version, it's just for us to come in here and call it 2.0, right? So now that's on the package or JSON file, right? But then it is also expected that you should have your base URL start with the versioning. Maybe I will drop, should I even, let me look for it now and drop. Okay, let me look for it now and drop it on the tel. It will be time wasting. Please, someone to remind me later to drop an image that has some, I got it on LinkedIn, that has to do with nomenclatures and also with a naming convention for, and when writing an API, right? Yes. So one of the things I want you to quickly also note is that you are expected to also state the version. Now this is what makes you a senior developer, and also this is what makes your code um, to be written in a matured format, right? So you're not just writing. Now when you're learning from tutorial, you will not see this API version 1. They won't do that. They don't do that. But then in the production ready, it's expected that you have this written so that in the next version, and why do we even have versions in backend development and all that? Now, I remember the last time I was talking about MVP. MVP means minimum viable product. Now, the prop tech that we're talking about that we're going to be developing and building and all that, there is an MVP, there's a first version for it. Maybe the first version is to allow people to come into the platform, register on the platform, and then allow owners of the platform to also register and post their platforms, and then allow people who are looking for properties to come on the platform and get the platforms. Maybe the first version is that you will get the property, but you're not going to pay anything on the platform. Maybe if our commission for allowing to use our platform to get the property was maybe say 2% of the of whatever amount you're going to be paying to the landlord. Maybe for us, we'll say for the first version, it's going to be free. We're not going to take any commission from the whole thing, right? Now that's the first version, and then we deploy it, and then they are making use of it. Now the next version, maybe we'll now come in and say, okay, at this time, or at this point in time, we want to get a commission. Now these are the things that follow the second version, for instance, and then maybe we can also come and add again and say, in this second version, we'll add a chat platform where the client, which is the person who's trying to look for property, can now chat with the owner, the landlord. Maybe now I don't know if you're getting the check now. It was not in the first version. The first version was just something that we just have to put up for them to interact with, and they know that we have a platform called a prop tech platform. I think the name of the platform is called Insider. So people will now come in, okay, there is a platform called Insider, you can lease out, and then they would say, the platform is free, there's no commission. That's a bait, literally, on a literal term, of course. When you hear there's no, it's literally a bait, especially when things are coming in for the first time. Just like when, if you're using a dollar card, for instance, cheaper. When cheaper came in, if you want to get a virtual card, it was just $2. After it was able to get you users and had actions. They now moved it to $5. Now, for you to get the virtual cards to pay in dollar online, you have to pay $5 to get the virtual card. But that was not what it is. The first version that came in, it was $2. The second version, now another version of cheaper that is coming in is that you're able to transfer money, transfer dollars between countries, not like converting your local currency into a dollar, not like but then you're able to transfer dollars from another dollar account, domiciliary dollar account to your cheaper account and back and forth like that. You see, that's another version that is going to come in. So I don't know if you have gotten what I'm trying to say now. Hello, can someone confirm? I just have to just talk about that. They have left me. Okay. So well, wait. Is it that they are not here? Hey,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say that you are here. Is it that you guys are far from your system, or you are doing another thing differently? Eh? You know why I'm asking? Whenever I ask, it's just to know that we are following that there is no break in transmission. But if there are relaxations in answers and response, it's not good at all. I tell you guys, it's not good. If it's a physical class, I can be talking, I can tell you, I can be talking like that. Whether you're following, you just want to confirm you're following. When there are questions, you just ask me questions and then we just go like that. But it's virtual. I can't see you guys. I had to turn on my video so that you guys will know that I'm saying something so that we can communicate. Imagine I turn on my video now. But I'm not seeing your videos, so I can't know whether you guys are following or not following. But that's what I'm asking. But if I'm not getting the quick response, it's it's not encouraging, sincerely, brethren. It's not encouraging. Well, that's
Sorry,
just
sir. Sorry, sir.
so. So that's that about. Thank you very much. So that's just that about the API version. So when we begin the production rate, of course, we'll have this guy put in place, and then we'll be seeing it. So for this Pora, which we are dealing with, so we already have a register uh, interface or register endpoint. Sorry, not an interface. It's front end guys that do with interface. We deal with endpoints and resource. So let me try hit it again, and then okay, this is the response we get. Account created successfully, which is the response you will find in the user's route file. This is when you register an account, you get account registered successfully. Get and then when you want to log in, if I switch back to login. Okay, this is to register a user. Okay, I shouldn't have brought this guy here now. Let me change it to login. So I will rename it to login. This we already have. So it's going to be login user. Oh my. So it's going to be. I will rename it to login user. Click enter. I'll remove the versioning and 8000, and then I'll change it to login. And then we hit login. Okay, I still get 8,000. What's the premiums differences now? Okay, and then users login. Let me check again on the users route. Do you have anything login? This request login because you are trying to post some details, which is the email and password to give access to the user. But first, authenticating and then authorizing the user. Of course, when we begin that, we see how we register a user and also how we authenticate a user at the point of logging in. So at the moment, we're keeping it simple and so that we can grab. So because register and then when you log in, welcome fee, right? It means fee has been authenticated, and then because she has been authenticated, she's now authorized to interact with the endpoint. That's why she's being greeted with welcome fee, right? So then for the product side, we have to post the product, the same thing. But then now, if you check the difference between um, this guy, let me move this guy here now. Okay, let me share my screen into two. Now, can you see my screen is divided into two, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, if you take note, you will see that this guy, after we did user slash register, But here we did users, and then the URL here is empty. There is no params. There's no parameter to get this. It will also work. It works. Either you put in anything here or you do not put it in. Ensure that when you are trying to get that particular resource also, that it is also empty. So let's say we want to do get, okay, let's say post a product. So um I will just, okay, because I did not save it. Let me save it. So save successfully. So I'll just duplicate this guy. I'll duplicate it. Okay, and then I will rename it as post product or create a product. Okay, create a product. So since it's create a product, and of course it's going to be a post request, I'm going to, okay, I'm still on Pura, so I'm going to remove this versioning from it, and then remove this users, because the base URL was meant to be like API version 1, the users. But then, since we are not putting the versioning, it's just going to be products, right? So products, and then if you check again, there was no, okay, what am I getting? I'm getting a response that cannot post products. So let's go check it out. Okay, I can remove it like this. Why I'm not adding anything in front of it is because the endpoint or the resource we're trying to get has nothing in front of it. It's just empty like this, right? So from the route, okay, it is product, and I was calling it products here. But then when you are doing versioning, base URL, in your base URL, the first parameter of the URL that leads to the particular resource or resources you're going to be interacting with has to be in plural form. Please take note of that. These are very small, but these are what makes you a senior developer. Of course, whenever I'm going to look at, when I'm looking at people's code, if I want to rate, well, these are the small, tiny things that we actually look at for and all that. So I just add the S to the products, right? Because it has to be in the plural form. If you leave it in a singular form, it will not do anything. It will work fine. It will be functional. But now, for a matured production ready code, and what makes a senior developer is part of these small chicken things, like you must not overlook and all that. So create a product. So now it's going to be product, and I'm going to hit it, and of course you get a response, product created successfully, and all that. So now I want you to also kind of note that majority of the time, um, the response usually comes in a JSON format. All I'm doing, yeah. So the men there. I want to be like you guys. Hold on. How's the client? Can you yeah, we give those calls. It's well. Okay. Yeah, so usually, sorry for the glitch. I sincerely apologize. My colleagues coming, they're looking wonderful on suit. You can imagine these guys. Their department is different. So it's we that are wearing t-shirt and black polo, the engineering side of the company. But them they're wearing suits. Oh God. God. Oh, this is serious. I can't wait to be like them. Yeah, so sorry for that glitch. So yes. So usually the response are meant to be in a JSON format, like in an object format, because it's going to be containing a lot of things. So if you notice, what we are sending here is just the greetings and or the response, the greeting response or the message response. But then when you create a product, you're expected to have that product also that you just created being shown here. One, for you to know that the product was created in the database, and also for you to for instance, some of the products, or sorry, not the products, some of the data requires it to be saved in session by the front end guys, so that they can be using it part time and all that. So don't worry, when we get there you also see that. So I'm just trying to show you that we don't just, when you create an account, sorry, when you post a product or create an account, um you have created an account successfully or product created successfully. There are other details again that must follow suit, and in order to achieve that, it must be in the product in an object format. An object format, I mean by, if we are to send this guy, it should come in this format, something like this. Maybe this one will be the message. You can call it msh, and then of course I want to believe that we are familiar with how an object works or how to write it. Remember, say, I've been saying that what makes an object is that is um it revolves around, or is should I say is clothed now with a curly bracket. That's the first thing. And secondly, it makes use of the name value system. The MSG, which is message, a short form for message, stands for the name, and then here is the value. So that's what makes an object an object. And then you can add extra features. Remember when we were talking about objects and why we're doing objects, we said that it give us the ability to save or to pass out or to pass in multiple instances of variables that we need to store. That was when we're talking about variables, and then we went further to talk about objects. So here might be the data, and then of course there might be the message, and then other things, status. You can add a status, whether it's true or false. These are just extra fields that the front end guys might want to do something with it. Of course, when I write my code, of course, I used to add the status, whether it was a failed response or is a true response. The true means the response you got is actually true, and if it's false, it means there are some glitches. So of course, if I hit this uh, create a product, I should see a JSON format coming in an object format like this. So from the front end guys, they will be able to pick the message and put it where they want to put it, and then the status where they want to put it. Any question before I go further into something I want to quickly talk about? Any question?
Okay, sir. I have a question to ask.
Okay.
So you're talking about something being plural. I forgot if it's an object. I've forgotten the name. You said it must be pluralized.
Okay. The base URL. The
Okay.
base, the first instance of the resource you want to get.
Okay.
According to writing a very correct code, it has to be written. It has to be a plural form. Yes, go on.
Okay. So,
Which
sir.
you find that in the routes,
Okay. So,
which is
sir, the
from the
basic.
base URL.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, is it? What about if you have it saved, like from the file, the file name, this product? What if you have the file name saved as product without putting the S plural? Would there be an effect?
There's no effect. But then, like I said, this is the standard format. Um,
Hello, we can't hear you again.
you can't hear me again. Yes, sir.
Yes, I didn't get you, sir.
Hello. Is it that he has been kicked out by network or
Yeah, we can hear you now. I think your network was
okay?
not stable.
My network. My network is where I am, like where I'm staying. I'm not meant to have any network problem, but then that's fine. Of course, it can be glitch and all that. So, if you now check what I was showing you, right? If you leave it as product without like a singular kini, not that it will not work. It will work. It will work. It will function very well without a break. But then we are talking about standards now, right? Standards. So standard for a matured development. It has been stated that it should be in this format with a plural, so that every other thing can now dwell its own part from it. Have I answered your question? Feyi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear,
Feyi, can you
sir.
hear me? Okay, please just can you stop so that the recording, can you pause so that I pick a call now? Thank you. So yes, where did I stop again? Allow it together.
Yes, sir, we're together.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So Faye, please remind me, because if I leave this bread and they will not remind me where I stopped. Please
You
remind
were
me.
asked someone asked you a question why you put S at product and you're answering the person that it's just convention.
Oh, okay, okay. So the brother, have you understood why it is like it's a standard?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now the next thing I want to quickly talk about is something that is a prerequisite to, or something that we must not neglect. Now I want you to notice something. Now when I did something like this, I sent a request to get products, right, or to post a product, or let's say to register a user. Let's make it of this endpoint, and then we were told the account created what successfully. Now look at what it is here. Status code 200, which is what? Okay. I remember one of the assignment I gave was to go and for you guys to go and research on all the status code and have them check out and what they mean, right? And how or what their responsibilities are, what they are used for, and all that. Now, when you are writing an API, an endpoint, try to get a response or do any request, what I did, or for the examples I've done, I did them without um, explicitly citing out the endpoint. Now, the status code response, which we are meant to do. So the default response for every successful um, request is the status code 200. But there are others that you must have to explicitly state what they are. In fact, you have to explicitly state the response for each of the requests, either for the failed response and for the success response. The success response are 200, 201, 202, and the rest like that. I think 200 are success response, depending on what you want them to do. So the 200 response that we got was that, okay, the response was fine and it is okay. But then that's not the response we use when we want to create something. So now, in order to add the status code response for our endpoints, how do we do that? Is the next thing I'm going to do, and which will now also bring about the aspect of um, ensuring that the response comes in a JSON format, and in the JSON format brings about the object format. Right now, um, for the users, for endpoint users, which is to register a user, what we did was res.send dot what, res.send and then the response, right? But then the right format or the standard format is res.send, if I'm not mistaken, dot status, I'm coming, I want to be sure, then dot JSON. I don't actually use this format, so but then just trying to show you what it is. I used to catch my response somewhere, right, and then have it thrown. When we get there, you also see that. But then for the sake of this kind of example that we have, and then we have this JSON format. The JSON means JavaScript object notation, which gives us a hint to write our response in a JavaScript object notation. Of course, here might be message like we did the other time. So and then the status code will be 200. 201. That sound is that my battery is low. Let's try it again. Let's see what happens. Oh my, sorry. I need to not postman, but turn that client. So let's say what we want to do is to register a user. So boom, I got an internal server error. Why? Because perhaps the method. So let's remove the send and the rest of status.json. I believe this should work. Yes, this worked. Now look at the status. The status says 201. Are we still together, please?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we have the status 201, which means created. This is what you will be using when you are trying to insert a new data into the database. So you make use of 201 means it's created. Of course, then which and the message might come in as account created successfully and all that. But if you do not put the status code, the default that you will see for any successful response is 201. And success response starts from 200 to 200 and something like that, depending on the use case. And then like that. And let's say in the process of creating an account and then something happened, maybe let's say 500. So when we hit this response, when we hit this API, you get the response as 500. It means internal server error. Now, why do we have to put this status code like that? It enables us to know the state of the responses of the endpoints that we are interacting with. So the moment you see the front end guys see 200, it means okay, the get request actually worked. When I see 201, it means they were trying to create an account and the account was created successfully. And then when you see 500, it means there's an internal server error and all that. So that's why we do all those. And it's a good practice. You must have to put that in your code every time for every of the response you're going to be sending. Are we still together? So because you're trying to register an account, which means great, we'll leave it at what? 201. So for other ones, which is login, we'll be at 200. And then for this set, we'll leave it at of. Are we still together? So that's just one of the things I wanted to point out. Now, having that said, right? So now one of the things I want to now quickly add. Okay, should I talk about that now? Luca, is Luca there? Oga Luca, Zakpa. Freeman. Okay, maybe let me just add that up here. Even as much as we're not going to touch it that much, but then Freeman is not on the call, right? Please, can someone confirm? He's not on the call.
He's not on call.
Okay. Um, I just want to talk about some application middlewares also that we need to kind of put in. I think maybe I will just stop there. Um, in our routes our routes much more functional than what they do. So instead of trying to and then kind of copy and paste, and then I thought so I could just look for it. And okay, uh, it, hold on. Okay, I'm coming. I'm searching for it. It just came up my mind now, and is a prerequisite also, and then I'll now also talk about why we need that when setting our routes, of course. I've seen it. I've seen one. Question, Paul. Oluwaseun Paul. Oluwaseun Paul, are you there? Sorry, is it that I'm not audible?
You are audible, sir.
Okay. So Oluwaseun is not here. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So here is what I wanted to add on the routes file that is responsible of holding all the files, and I'll just drop it here, which is CORS. I will just explain. This is just the snippet. It's from line. Let me shut this guy off. Can you see my screen now? From line 6 to line 20. Line 6 to line 20. Of course, the moment you see that use, I remember I told you that that's what we use to define our application middleware, and anything inside of that we are using it to attach it into the framework that we are using, and then it appends to make it a gatekeeper. Literally what that means is that for you to now interact with any of these endpoints, sorry, any of these routes here that is leading to other endpoints to get those resources, you have to interact first with this middleware here. And I call it set CORS. And what is CORS? Um, has anyone heard about CORS? Or can you attempt to tell us what is CORS? Am I the only one here? You guys are not encouraging me at all.
No, sir, we don't know CORS.
That's zero.
So I don't know.
Yes,
The
you
last
don't know
time I saw
CORS.
the call, last time I saw the calls
So
was in the
shouldn't I get the
package
response?
JSON.
Okay, you said last time you saw it was what?
It was in the package.json under the dependency.
Okay, yeah, when we try to install that course, yes. So course basically the full meaning of course is cross origin resource sharing. Cross origin resource sharing. And what does it do? It allows a cross origin access. That is of course course is a part of a HTTP that's less server specified any other host from which a browser should permit a loading of content and all that. So when when you do not set your course on on the routes, or why do we even set the course on the routes? Like I said, it means cross origin resource sharing. If you do not set this thing, um why I can actually interact with these routes here is because I'm working locally. So um my machine and Node.js understands that this request is coming from my machine. Now, if I deploy this app, I might be able to interact with it from my app, from my system to, let's say, do a registration. I might run into, and these are the kind of issues or errors that the front end guys tends to interact with. Now, if I if I come in here and now there's an aesthetic here. Before I talk about the aesthetic and all that, before I try to talk about the whole concept here, I could specify the type of devices that should interact with this particular endpoint. Perhaps I could also specify the region or which part of or areas and places where these um, endpoints can be interacted with. I don't know if I'm saying something, but when you set up your course, and again, if you do not even set up your course, by default, it restricts people or restricts access to these particular endpoints. Let's say, like, for you wanting to register a user without the course, you can't access it from different platforms or different devices and all that. So it is a necessity that you have to set it so that you will not just be able to use it locally if you are developing locally, but once it's deployed, people can have access to interact with these endpoints from different angles, different positions, and different devices. Are we together on that now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So having said that, the next one now is implementing the course. So basically, of course, we're using the app.use, and we're using the request, the response, and the next. Why I was calling Oluwaseun was that in the last class he was talking about why is it that I made use of request, rest, and next, but I wasn't using the next function, right? And this is where the next function was. I remember I also explained what the next function was to do. That once it has executed the codes or the snippets above where the next statement is being called, the next function is being called, it just tells just like it handles the button to the next middleware or to the next function within that middleware. So basically, that's what this next function is doing. I was hoping he's here to see it again where I'm actually using. So with this request header, this is response.header, and then the access control allow origin. It means it should allow access um, to these various routes, which is now to these various, and means anywhere or everywhere. Yes, that's that about that. And then the rex.header access control, it means it supports origin. Don't worry, I'll talk about that perhaps in next class. It talks about the requested with the content type, the accept and authorization. They are default headers. Now, if I open my Postman, you will see some of these headers. Let me see what that Thunder client has. Let me check what Thunder client has on the headers. Now, look at it. Can you see this? Can you see this? These are defaults headers, HTTP headers. So it means it supports this accept, it supports this user agent, and then other built-in customs that we might add up. Of course, you can add up other ones and all that. So it means it supports any of those ones coming in, and that's why we had to state that in our routes, right? And then we're now checking to do we're checking the condition. We're now saying if the request dot method is has an option, allow it to do or allow it to pass this header. Sorry, I need to say the access control allow methods, the put, the get, the patch, and the delete. Do not worry, in the next class I'll explain much more about that. So now this request dot method is a method in the request. The same way we had reg dot body. Remember when we we're doing reg dot body? Where we said the body is a method that you can find in the request function. The same way we have a method called method, and in the method you will have the field called options, and inside these options allows us to be able to pass in these following headers. Are we still together? So if
Yes, sir.
the now
Sir, we can't hear you.
So I didn't get the last thing you said.
course,
Hello, sir. Your line is breaking.